Ancient Greece gave birth to Western civilization's most enduring symbols, many of which continue to influence our world today. From the democratic ideals of Athens to the Olympic Games, Greek culture established symbolic traditions that have persisted for over 2 millennia. These symbols weren't merely decorative elements, they were profound expressions of religious belief, political power, philosophical concepts, and cultural identity that shaped how Greeks understood their place in the cosmos. The owl became the sacred symbol of Athena, goddess of wisdom and warfare, appearing prominently on Athenian coins from the 5th century BCE. The little owl, Athena noctua, was chosen because owls were believed to have exceptional night vision, symbolizing the ability to see truth in darkness and pierce through deception. Athenian silver tetradrachms, featuring Athena's helmeted head on one side and her owl on the reverse, became the most widely recognized currency in the ancient Mediterranean world. These coins were so trusted that they were accepted from Spain to India, making the owl synonymous with both Athens and wisdom itself. The phrase "owls to Athens" became equivalent to our modern "coals to Newcastle," meaning bringing something to a place that already has plenty of it. Beyond currency, owls appeared in Athenian art, architecture, and literature as guardians of knowledge and protectors of the city. Aristotle wrote extensively about owls in his natural histories, and Athenian soldiers carried owl imagery on their shields as they marched into battle. The caduceus consists of 2 serpents wrapped around a winged staff, carried by Hermes, the messenger god and guide of souls. Originally a symbol of trade, negotiation, and safe passage, it represented Hermes's role as mediator between opposing forces and protector of travelers, merchants, and diplomats. The intertwined serpents symbolized the balance of opposing forces, life and death, war and peace, earth and sky. According to myth, Hermes received this staff when he used it to separate 2 fighting serpents, who then coiled around it in harmony. The wings at the top represented Hermes' ability to travel swiftly between the mortal world and Mount Olympus. Greek ambassadors and heralds carried staffs modeled after the caduceus as it granted them safe passage even through enemy territory. The symbol appeared on boundary stones, trade agreements, and treaties throughout the Greek world. While often confused with the rod of Asclepius in modern medical contexts, the caduceus was primarily associated with commerce, communication, and diplomacy in ancient Greece. Roman merchants later adopted it as their symbol, and it eventually made its way into modern commercial and military insignia. A single serpent wrapped around a staff represented Asclepius, the god of healing and medicine, son of Apollo. This symbol originated from the ancient belief that serpents possessed healing powers due to their ability to shed their skin, symbolizing renewal, rebirth, and the triumph over death. The rod itself represented the physician's staff, a tool of both support and authority. Temples dedicated to Asclepius, called Asclepions, served as ancient healing centers throughout the Greek world. The most famous was located at Epidaurus, where patients would undergo purification rituals before sleeping in sacred spaces called abaton, hoping for healing dreams sent by the god. These temple complexes included theaters, gymnasiums, and libraries, recognizing the connection between physical, mental, and spiritual health. Archaeological evidence from Asclepions reveals sophisticated medical knowledge, including surgical instruments, anatomical votives, and detailed records of treatments. The serpent-wrapped staff appeared on medical instruments, prescription containers, and temple decorations. Greek physicians took oaths before images of Asclepius, establishing traditions that continue in modern medical practice. The symbol's power was so respected that even warring armies would cease hostilities to allow access to Asclepions. The labyrinth, most famously associated with the myth of the Minotaur in Crete, appeared in various forms throughout Greek culture as a symbol of life's spiritual journey. The seven-circuit labyrinth design represented the path to enlightenment, with each circuit symbolizing a different stage of personal transformation. Unlike mazes with multiple paths and dead ends, traditional labyrinths had only one way in and out, representing the inevitable journey each soul must take through life's challenges. The myth of Theseus navigating the labyrinth to defeat the Minotaur became a metaphor for conquering one's inner demons and achieving heroic transformation. Greek philosophers used the labyrinth to illustrate complex concepts about fate, free will, and the nature of existence. The symbol appeared on coins from Knossos, temple floors, and pottery throughout the Mediterranean. Different regions developed unique labyrinth traditions. The island of Lemnos featured labyrinth dances during religious festivals, where participants would follow intricate patterns that mirrored the sacred geometry. These ritual dances were believed to induce trance states that connected participants with divine wisdom. The labyrinth also appeared in Greek mathematical texts as an early example of geometric problem-solving and spatial reasoning. The Triskele, featuring three interlocked spirals, represented the triple goddess and the three realms of existence: land, sea, and sky. This ancient symbol also embodied the concept of perpetual motion and spiritual progress, with its spirals suggesting eternal movement and the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. The number 3 held profound significance in Greek religion, representing completeness and divine perfection. Different variations of the Triskele appeared throughout the Greek world. In some regions, it represented the three fates who controlled mortal destiny, while others associated it with the three phases of the moon goddess. The symbol frequently appeared on temple decorations, religious jewelry, and ceremonial objects used in mystery religions. Greek philosophers incorporated Triskele symbolism into their teachings about the nature of reality. The three spirals were interpreted as representing thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, a concept that would later influence dialectical thinking. Archaeological discoveries have revealed triskeles carved into ancient Greek theaters, suggesting their use in dramatic presentations that explored themes of fate and transformation. According to Greek mythology, the cornucopia originated from the horn of the goat Amalthea, who nursed the infant Zeus in a cave on Mount Ida. When Zeus accidentally broke off one of her horns during play, he blessed it with the power to provide endless food and drink, making it a symbol of divine abundance, prosperity, and the gods' benevolence toward mortals. The cornucopia became central to harvest festivals and celebrations honoring Demeter, goddess of agriculture. Greek artists depicted it overflowing with grains, fruits, and flowers, representing the earth's fertility and the rewards of honest labor. The symbol appeared on coins from agricultural regions, temple reliefs, and household objects throughout the Greek world. Beyond material abundance, the cornucopia represented spiritual plenty. The infinite gifts of wisdom, love, and divine grace available to those who lived virtuously. Greek wedding ceremonies incorporated cornucopia imagery to bless couples with prosperity and fertility. The symbol also appeared in funeral art, representing the abundant life that awaited souls in the afterlife. While originally Egyptian, the ankh was adopted by Greek communities, particularly in areas with strong Egyptian influence like Alexandria during the Hellenistic period. The Greeks interpreted this symbol as representing the union of male and female principles, the marriage of heaven and earth, and the key to eternal life. Greek mystery religions incorporated the ankh into their initiation ceremonies, teaching that it represented the soul's journey toward immortality. The symbol appeared in Greek magical papyri as a protective amulet and was carved into tombstones alongside traditional Greek funeral imagery. Hellenistic artists created hybrid designs combining the ankh with Greek symbols like the caduceus and olive branches. The adoption of the ankh demonstrates the cosmopolitan nature of later Greek culture, which absorbed and reinterpreted symbols from across the known world. Greek philosophers like Plutarch wrote about Egyptian symbolism, helping to preserve and transmit these traditions to future generations. Dolphins held special significance as symbols of Apollo and Poseidon, representing divine protection of sailors, intelligence, and the benevolent connection between gods and mortals. Greek mythology tells of dolphins rescuing drowning sailors, carrying messages between the divine and human realms, and serving as mounts for sea nymphs and gods. The most famous dolphin myth involves the poet Arion, who was saved by dolphins after being thrown overboard by pirates. This story, recorded by Herodotus, established dolphins as protectors of artists and bearers of divine inspiration. Apollo's epithet Delphinios connected him to dolphins, and the oracle at Delphi was named after these sacred creatures. Greek coins from various city-states featured dolphins, often paired with other maritime symbols like tridents, anchors, and seashells. The island of Delos, Apollo's birthplace, used dolphins extensively in its religious art. Dolphins appeared in temple mosaics, fresco paintings, and sculpture, often portrayed carrying souls to the afterlife or guiding heroes on their journeys. Archaeological evidence suggests that Greeks maintained dolphin sanctuaries where the creatures were protected and honored. These sacred spaces included pools, feeding areas, and shrines where visitors could leave offerings in hopes of divine favor for sea voyages. Sacred to Apollo, the laurel wreath became the highest symbol of victory, honor, and divine inspiration in ancient Greece. The tradition began with the myth of Daphne, who was transformed into a laurel tree to escape Apollo's pursuit. The god declared the laurel sacred, promising that its leaves would crown the heads of heroes, poets, and victors for all time. Winners of the Pythian Games at Delphi received laurel crowns, establishing a tradition that extended to all forms of competition and achievement. Olympic victors were also crowned with laurel, though olive wreaths were more common. The symbol represented triumph not just in athletics, but in poetry, music, philosophy, and military conquest. Greek schools awarded laurel wreaths to outstanding students, and graduating philosophers received them as symbols of wisdom achieved. The practice of laureate honors traces directly to these ancient Greek traditions. Roman generals later adopted laurel crowns for triumphal processions, and the symbol eventually became associated with academic achievement, literary excellence, and artistic mastery throughout Western civilization. The laurel's association with prophecy came from its use at the Oracle of Delphi, where priestesses chewed laurel leaves to induce prophetic trances. This connection between laurel and divine inspiration influenced Greek concepts of poetic creativity and intellectual achievement. The Greek letter theta held profound symbolic meaning beyond its alphabetic function. In some contexts, it represented death and the soul's passage to the afterlife, as its circular form with a horizontal line resembled a gateway or threshold between existence and non-existence. However, theta also symbolized divine perfection, cosmic order, and the unity of all things. Greek mathematicians used theta to represent unknown quantities and divine proportions, while philosophers employed it in discussions about the nature of being and non-being. The symbol appeared on tombstones and funerary objects, often accompanied by prayers for safe passage to the underworld. In mystery religions, theta represented initiation and spiritual transformation. The dual nature of theta, both death and perfection, reflected Greek philosophical concepts about the relationship between mortality and eternal truth. Some Greek schools taught that death was merely a transformation, represented by the theta's circular form containing a dividing line that could be crossed in both directions. Also known as the Greek key, this geometric pattern of interlocking right angles symbolized infinity, unity, and the eternal flow of life. The design appeared extensively in Greek architecture, pottery, textiles, and jewelry, representing the labyrinthine path of life and the unbreakable bonds of friendship, love, and devotion that connect all beings. The meander pattern originated from observations of river courses, particularly the Meander River in Asia Minor, which wound in elaborate curves across the landscape. Greeks saw in this natural phenomenon a metaphor for life's journey, sometimes direct, sometimes circuitous, but always flowing toward its destined end. Different variations of the meander carried specific meanings. Simple meanders represented basic life force, while complex interlocking patterns symbolized the interconnectedness of all existence. Greek architects incorporated meander patterns into temple designs, particularly in friezes and borders, creating visual representations of cosmic order and mathematical harmony. The pattern's geometric precision reflected Greek ideals about the mathematical basis of beauty and truth. The winged horse Pegasus, born from the blood of the slain Gorgon Medusa, symbolized poetic inspiration, artistic creativity, and the soul's ability to transcend earthly limitations. According to myth, Pegasus' hoofbeat created the sacred spring Hippocrene on Mount Helicon, whose waters granted poetic inspiration to those who drank from it. Associated with the Muses and their sacred mountain, Pegasus represented the divine spark of creativity that elevates human consciousness above mundane concerns. The symbol appeared on coins from Corinth and other Greek cities as a mark of cultural achievement and artistic excellence. Greek poets invoked Pegasus when seeking inspiration, and the creature became synonymous with the highest forms of literary and artistic expression. The myth of Bellerophon taming Pegasus illustrated the relationship between human ambition and divine power. Only with Athena's golden bridle could the hero control the winged horse, suggesting that true artistic achievement requires both human effort and divine blessing. When Bellerophon attempted to fly to Mount Olympus uninvited, Zeus sent a gadfly to sting Pegasus, causing the rider to fall, a warning about the dangers of excessive pride in creative achievement. These ancient Greek symbols continue to influence our modern world, appearing in everything from medical logos to Olympic ceremonies, from architectural decorations to philosophical discussions. Their enduring power lies not just in their visual appeal, but in their ability to communicate profound truths about human nature, divine relationships, and the cosmos itself. The Greeks understood that symbols could transcend language barriers and cultural differences, conveying universal concepts through visual metaphors that speak directly to the human spirit. Their symbolic legacy reminds us that beneath the surface of everyday life lie deeper patterns of meaning, connection, and purpose that unite all human experience across time and culture.